What is up? What is up? Welcome to the stream. It's last call, just chilling. No agenda here today. Like it says, I'm just doing my thing. Some work I got to do in the background. So if you're popping in, also let me know. I think I have some background music going on that I can't hear on my end. If it ends up being too loud, you can let me know that too. Just a little bit of a instrumental. Dial in, let me know what's up. How's it going? I think I had a couple things I would talk about, but again, like the title says, this is in utero, so this is even like not all that serious as to why. Well, one of the reasons why I guess I didn't give any notice about anything I'm doing, just kind of popping on here and seeing what's up, doing a little bit of my own thing, seeing how things work, and of course, once in a while, jumping on and seeing what's up. So welcome. Hey, brother of a certain age. Good to see you, man. Like I'm saying, not a whole bunch of exciting things going on my end. Just figure I'd pop on and just do my own thing while getting used to this without setting up anything too serious, you know what I mean? So that's the deal right now. I know I'm looking at what I have over here. It's just talking netiquette chat. That's like the first thing I would talk about if I were to, or when I'm going to do my first podcast, I suppose. Just get into a lot of the basics and expectations of what people do and what they expect, because I've noticed a few things when I log on. Sometimes I don't really say what's up to the room, and I know some, I guess you would call them hosts, that seem to take that very seriously. Like, you come in my chat and don't say what's up. It seems like a real sin to do that with some people. And in some cases, if I'm doing stuff around the house, what's up, I don't really get a chance to, I guess, so-called check in with the chat. So if I'm hearing something that's of interest to me, like, hey, what's up? And then I got to run back to the computer and be like, what's up? Kind of deal. Do it. Hope you're good. And I also hope that you notice I put in my community tab a thing for your dates on, I believe, the 21st. So looking forward to that also, man. Yeah, man, got you. No problem. Just checking out some features here. What else can this thing do? Yeah, just doing a little bit of testing here, man. Doing my own little computer stuff in the background, but kind of checking in. I figured, jump in. So I wouldn't call this the official first one just yet. It's just kind of like, all right, see what's up. If I am to get used to doing this, should be used to all the features on here and what it does, and how to conduct anything or whatever. Actually, one thing I can try to do. See, how do you guys throw a link up here when you want somebody to come up here? You don't have to jump on. I'm just trying to see if this thing works the way that you guys do it. I'm going to actually press it to see what happens here. Oh yeah, looks like that works. Okay. You're not working today, man? Okay, cool. Let's see. I gave you the right thing. Gotcha, guys. While you're doing what you're doing, I'll just tell you what I've been wasting some of my time on. I haven't had cable in like a long time. Before it was actually fashionable, and streaming wasn't really a thing, because I wanted to build a library in my house, and which I started to, and it's been somewhat successful. Although I haven't read as much as I'd like to lately, and I mean lately as in probably a couple good years or so. But then now everything is streaming, and you can get everything on your computer or online, man. And it caused me to fall into bad habits, more or less. But even in, I guess, worse habits lately is just catching up to all the stuff I've missed in years and years. And on top of that, I don't have a lot of social media going around, especially a lot of the popular ones. During music's not too loud. during COVID, a couple of my cousins forced me to get what the hell is that thing called now? Everybody's on it, Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And I have but two, besides my cousins, I don't think anybody, maybe one or two people outside my cousins. Could be like less than 10 people. People I'm following. I even hate the term following on top of that. So I've been having brain melt over some stuff. But anyway, I say all that to say, I've been getting into, and I don't want this to sound, not getting into, not following, but finally discovering what this manosphere garbage is all about. And just the list of characters in this deal. And I, as entertained as I am, I'm concerned for all of mankind if this is the type of stuff people are actually following and getting involved in and stuff. So I'm learning who the main players are and who the main players were, and anything that's going on in social media. I'm a good couple years behind. So anything that I find out about is like, okay, that's interesting. And I might as well, while I'm testing stuff, I might as well do a dry run over here and see how this works out. I'll tell you how I arrived at this one guy here. Hold on, it's like, maybe I could do half a show and maybe try to explain what I've learned about this this stupidness. Let me see if I could do this. Hang on. I'll try to call this up. Kind of doing a presentation for work is what this is like. So I know that there's this whole thing popped off with what's his name, Kevin Samuels and Manosphere. And as far as I could tell, Manosphere is a bunch of whack jobs. Just I guess the word is incels that they used to use, or maybe still use. I don't know. But it's these guys, Andrew Tate and all these nerds, guys that seem like they were nerds in the past, got some sort of platform, and all of a sudden some sort of confidence and money to back them up, and they think they're cool now. And they don't have great social skills. They seem to mock or have down the speaking patterns of a 1980s WWF wrestler, the bravado of that, and that's about it. Other than that, they're very awkward and weird around other people, and they seem to want to impress other men. Is what I could tell from these videos. And so I was familiar with Kevin Samuels because, of course, that was a big deal, and he was telling women, although I agreed with some of this stuff that he was saying. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm just off of a few videos of some of the sound bites of, I guess, what people wanted you to see, in the past. And but I keep going back to, I guess these the more popular ones these days, and they're not in the manosphere, but I know Abba and Preach, because they kind of do videos about anything that's out there, and they got a funny take, a funny, honest take. I wouldn't follow anybody that seems, well, I don't even follow them, to tell you the truth. They just kind of pop up on my thing. But anything that's going on, they sort of have some commentary about it. That's, I think one's a comic or whatever. So, there's some comedy in there and all that stuff that I could enjoy. But one of their counterparts are the two guys, another set of two black guys that one doesn't think he's black, or I guess they both don't think they're black, or think they're better than being black, is Fresh and Fit. And these two clowns are the Manosphere guys, and they're exactly like everything I explained. They got this false bravado. They think they're more important than they actually are, and they have very weird ideologies about women and all that kind of stuff, And so, of course, being so late to the game and just running these videos on, on YouTube where you just autoplay. It's called autoplay. I let the autoplay go, and then I'm hearing stuff around the house and then I get to put the faces to the nonsense of who's speaking and whatnot. So anyway, I say all that to get to where the heck I am now. And over the last 2 days of listening to YouTube and these idiot, Red Pill, that's the name. I don't know if it's the Manosphere or the Red Pill or if that's like the same name, but it's like I see a lot of that junk together. So the main idiot that I'm looking at today that I found out about, or last night I found out about, was Donovan Sharp. These guys, and they were all nerds like before COVID, and they either shave their head or grow a beard or something, and whatever. So this guy, they were clowning this dude, and this is probably a year old or so, clowning this dude because he ended up getting married when he was against it, and he married everything he was against, which is hilarious. But I really don't care about all that. I don't care what your wife looks like or any of that. What I care about are people that, project. Well, I don't care about it, but what concerns me are the people that project a certain persona and try to influence others, because this is what they call themselves to be, influencers. And let's see if I could do something here. So before I was jumping on this, no, that's not it. Hang on. I do have another monitor that I'm supposed to be doing that too. Trying to find the cable to, I have two monitors. One that I've had quite large monitors, and I'm not a gamer. So it's actually been sitting there since I had a actual desktop, and I want to find a way to hook it up to my laptop, but I think I need some sort of a hub. So that's another thing that I'm going to be doing on here, and doing my best Amazon searches. So let's see. I think it's even a joke that I'm looking this clown up over here. So that's not who this guy is. This is not a Donovan Sharp. This is just a guy who's doing commentary. Because I guess, as you already know, anybody who watches this, if you follow a topic or whatever like that, then, of course, there's people that do reactions on the topics and all that good stuff. Yeah. So let's see. Actually, it's a good time to even test if I could do this, because I imagine I'm going to be talking about some stuff sooner than later. So, oh yeah. So as I was saying, there are reaction people who do reaction bits to stuff. So I don't know if I like the content or if I'm more like the people who do reactions, because I guess they make a living out of it and make it interesting. I gotta get some water. Didn't plan on speaking so much. All right. So this is what I would have playing in the background while I'm doing my cleaning and doing my work and everything over here. Hang on. Am I even doing this right? All right. Okay. See, still figuring it out.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy YCB Man, and today
so this is a guy.
The reaction video today. We are
talking
reacting
about
to
crap.
Donovan Sharp. It has been a long
Now I
time
know one thing
since
when
we have
people do
actually
this.
talked about Donovan Sharp on this channel.
I guess I shouldn't be talking over everything, but I know one thing when people do this, they got to check the volumes and levels. I guess I just assume that it's playing right. I guess if it were an important thing, then people would tell me, like, hey, can't hear you. Turn this down, what have you. But I guess I'll just play it till somebody tells me something. And so this guy is doing a reaction on this guy that I just told you about. And I guess this popped up. It says 11 days ago. But when I looked at the date of all this stuff, it looks like it happened over a year ago. But I guess there's some new. Oh, okay. So the deal with this guy who these guys seem to peak. They have their moment in the sun for maybe a few months or a couple years. Um, and I just learned about all this stuff over the last few months, like pearly things, and I guess even more recent, Candace Owens being canceled. Um, these fresh and fit idiots that you can see over here. Um, I don't know some names that I'm sure I'm forgetting right now, but really, it just looks like these guys just have no social skills and uh, just end up getting way too much publicity and I guess whatever YouTube brings followers and stuff. And I guess they've never had any sort of meaningful relationships, and it seems like they sort of get corrupted with all of this stuff. So anyway, back to this guy. I haven't seen this. I just want to see. Again, this is what I would be auto playing in the background as I started uh, listening to whatever the hell this manosphere crap is about and being entertained by real idiots that I didn't know were out
I
there.
believe last time we talked
So,
about him,
so
he
let me go
actually
back.
got made. Yo,
So
what's going on YouTube?
if this is about this guy, Donovan Sharp, quitting YouTube, I'm probably the only guy that doesn't know about him or didn't know about him, um, I guess 48 hours ago. He's just a real idiot that, well, what do you call it? A megalomaniac, really just full of himself, doesn't seem to have any qualifications for anything. Now, I just heard a sound. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Give me a minute. Don't go anywhere.
What
Got
up?
you up
What up?
here.
What's
What's
going on,
up?
brother?
It worked.
I'm a,
You are
I'm a,
my first person up here.
what's good, brother? I'm hearing the
Chilling.
echo. Do you have headphones on?
No, I don't. If there's an echo, hang on one second.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I got to get rid of this guy. Did you hear any of my nonsense presentation that I was going through?
Yeah, I was listening to you talking about red pill and all that stuff. I tune into that.
Do you know about all that stuff?
Yeah, I kind of sort of know about it, but I don't subscribe to anything in particular. I just like listening to people talk in different points of views.
Yeah. I think it is such a weirdo. Oh, I just lost you. All right, don't go anywhere there. We'll try to get you back.
You don't hear
I
me?
think it is. I do hear you. I just the view
You put up
is
your
going.
you put up your banner. Did you click like a
Yeah.
banner or something like that?
All right, let me see. All
So
right, there you go.
So I would say you use that when you trying to authenticate somebody.
Yeah.
And now you know how to authenticate.
So I didn't do that with you.
Yeah.
Did I authenticate with you, or you just kind of showed up, right?
No, I showed up, but if you look down at your how I'm down in the bottom, those three dots, at your bottom, if you hover over those three dots, it should like put me in the back. You could bring me back up, put me in the back. When somebody clicks on there, you should be able to hover over and make sure that is them. Because anybody, like, and you can see my face now, but if I can, now don't be laughing. If I came up like this, somebody could,
I'm not Tiz.
Somebody could take this and then show up with my name and everything and come in your back chat. Okay. And if they know you familiar with it, so they'll be like, "Oh, I'll just use that to get on the show." So you just there's those three dots. If you hover over those three dots, it should say something like authenticate.
I'm not sure if it says authenticate. It says your name there. Oh yeah, it does. It says authenticated with YouTube.
Yeah, so you can tell, right? So you can tell if somebody comes. So if somebody's using me, just my face and my name, when you go over that, it'll tell you if that's actually me or not.
Okay.
That authenticate. So that's something. That's what you use your when you got somebody coming up, you throw up your banner that you had up. just double check, make sure it's them. Then you take your banner down. Just a little added protection for your channel.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm safe from tears. I could get off that. Yeah, they kill me with
too
that,
much, man. Too much. That is funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me about this red pill, these guys.
So the Matrix, the red pill, the blue pill. Like the red pill was like when you actually are, the truth, and you're supposed to know the truth. That's what red pill is about. People who are coming out of the Matrix and they know the truth and they have a certain ideology. But it's a lot of, so there's like red pill, there's manosphere, there's like the gender wars. There's a bunch of stuff going on that it's kind of intertwined. Not all of it is, because I'm in the manosphere, but I'm not I'm not a quote unquote manosphere. Same thing, like I'm in the Umar Johnson sector, but I'm not, like, I don't create that content. I just create the stuff that means something to me. So you could be in these places and you'll find different people that maybe you vibe with, and then bring them to your channel, and so that way you can you find your own tribe. I'm in the process of looking for my own tribe, so I go wherever there's a good conversation to be had, and I could find somebody that it doesn't have to be like-minded. They could be a total opposite of you that you feel like is going to provide a good conversation and add value to your channel. I know you're not looking for an echo chamber. I think you're a thinker, so I think you would like to have that conversation.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So a couple things with that too, because a funny thing, when I was logged on with you, and then we all kind of moved on to propane. Remember that night, and I was telling people more or less I felt like a new guy, right? Because I didn't. I'm so far. I believe that I'm so far on the outside of things, as I think it kind of proved to be true that night, because people were involved in a whole bunch of other stuff, and part of me was kind of like, this is why I don't jump into a lot of the conversations of what goes on and whatnot, and part of it is maybe I tend to take YouTube and technology maybe a little more serious than a lot of other people would, as where it's just a thing. You don't necessarily have to have certain credentials and whatnot to appear on here and have your own channel and all that kind of stuff. So part of me sort of has to remember a lot of that too. Like, I guess the comment that I made it when Carrie was on there, and and I didn't even go back to listen, but I'm sure she went on, like, I was at the gas station, I got gas, your thing was still on, and I still heard certain comments and whatnot. I was like, still talking about that. And I have to remember, like, maybe we're not all, well, not maybe, but a lot of us aren't on the same page. For a lot of people, this is more serious. For other people, as well, which is all fine, with me. But I have to try to remember where I am with a lot of that stuff,
Yeah, I think, like in Carrie's case, she enjoys a good back and forth. And she's gonna if she's gonna challenge the point. And so if you're looking to be challenged, then kind of just leave a comment out there. She's gonna if she's even if she agrees with it, she'll agree with it. If she doesn't, she's gonna say so. She has her own way of doing it. So but I've been around her, and I did a show with her as well. So I kind of know how, I know she does, there's like no harm in it. It's just she has a certain way of saying things. But but like you're saying, coming into some of these chats and you don't know the history of stuff, and you got people going back and forth, and you like, okay, I don't know exactly what this is, but do I even comment on it? Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on, but I would say just be yourself, do what you do, and you'll find out, because you've kind of been on the outskirts a little bit. You'll find out as you venture into if you decide to venture into some of these chats, you'll find out a little bit more about what's what. But I usually steer clear of it. I will laugh and joke And if there's something to be, like that when Tiz and them was making fun of the avatar stuff, like I'm gonna jump into that. I'm gonna have fun with that stuff like that. Some people don't take kind if they're on the big screen, they don't take kind to it. But long as I don't think you have one of those spirits that is looking to take somebody down. If there's a joke to be had, you're gonna laugh and contribute to it, and that's it. No harm, no foul. And you don't mind the same as with yourself. No. So I think I fall in that lane as well. So
yeah, I think it's not that serious, and it's for fun, and I only really gravitate towards the like-minded people for the most part. And like we do, if there's a more serious conversation to be had, then that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I think it was on the partners podcast a few weeks ago where I started to explain, and want to ask your opinion on this as well, because when we're on with the partners, this is like maybe the third or fourth time we've had outsiders come in and try to the situation and whatnot. And I'm just always thinking, especially if I'm going to do this on a regular basis, or at least my goal is maybe once a week, have something like those guys are on maybe once a week, and I'm thinking like Tuesday nights, whatever, just kind of see what other people are doing until I could commit to something more regularly and whatnot. But my opinion with Tiz is maybe he perceives his handling of those situations in another way than maybe I perceive it, right? Because he was in the middle of a run explaining, how he got attached to the sector, which I hate using that word, all that kind of stuff. And we're having a great conversation, and it's like the second or third time somebody that person who came in literally shut that down. Shut down that conversation is the way that I feel about it. But I understand from Tiz's point of view, it's like, no, I'm come in, I'm gonna do my thing. If you want to challenge, then I'm gonna challenge, blah 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 blah. And it's really just how you want to confront and deal with that stuff. But I'm thinking you cancel the conversation, some like-minded individuals, and then you let this guy who only came in to disrupt that actually succeed, in my opinion, succeed and disrupt that, as where I back down. Number one, I back down because I heard Tiz saying, chill, that sort of deal. So I was like, it's not my platform. So I'm going to do exactly that, chill. And then he muted my mic anyway on top of that. So I was like, all right,
I didn't know he did that.
He totally did that. When I looked into it, I was like, son of a bitch. So he muted my mic. I was like, all right, I'll stay muted till, whatever, till it's all over. So he totally took control of that situation. It was like, and then he went, and I was just, a spectator at that point. But even when the guy came on, I was like, so he had nothing to say back when I was like, what's your point? I'm rich. I'm like, okay, so this is what you decide to do. He had nothing.
Right.
He had nothing, after that kind of dialogue and stuff. And, I hate that point of outsiders coming in and kind of shutting that down. What do you think could have or should have been done in that situation?
I wouldn't let him go as far as he went, because you see what the end result was when he ended up.
So it's like, dude, that's what you do. Like, people are weird, dude.
And so like if to me, like if the guy came up and was having a genuine conversation and he wasn't like, it wasn't even like his tact wasn't coming from trying to get to an understanding. And I know like certain people, you're not going to get to an understanding, but he was more like, he's like doing that like a 5-year-old kid. And when that's the stuff, like I'll just get rid of, I'll get rid of them, and I'll drop them. I got some sound effects. I got some things I'm gonna cut in if I'm dropping somebody that's goofy or whatever. I drop them, and then I'll talk my shit and let them sit in the chat, let him put a couple of comments in the chat and then block him completely, but I wouldn't have let him stay up there that long. That's just, you know, I have I go to different sectors and I have different age groups, different races, different sexes that are going to be coming to my channel, and I'm looking to be able to show that we can have conversations, because my tagline is I believe we have more in common than we have differences. So that's where I would connect the conversation. But if it's not a genuine conversation, if it's somebody, that guy was a troll, he was looking to derail. If he's looking to derail, I have a little bit of fun with him. But once he started, there was certain, you know, once he started dropping the N-bomb, it's like, okay, yeah, you got to go. Peace out.
Right.
But Tiz was like, yeah, go ahead and say it. Go ahead. Yeah, okay. I can't, because I got to get him up out of there.
Yeah.
I would have got him up out of there, but you know, Tiz handled it like he handled it, and like I said, you see what the guy ended up doing. So I guess Tiz said, okay, that's a little too much. But he was, I don't know where he was headed. If he wouldn't have did that, he was going to do something similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, so I would have, and that's why I was talking to you about your banner. You keep that banner up, people hear the voices, and you could just get rid of them with the voice, with the stuff he said, but he would have never been able to put that image up there on your channel if you had that banner up. So I would probably kept the banner up. Once he dropped the first N-bomb, tell him to get the fuck up, get up out of there, and then got rid of him. But you know, you have to handle like you would handle it. I can't believe I can't believe he muted you. I'm gonna get.
So, and that was after I was like, after I heard him, and I was like, all right, you know, he's saying be quiet. But when I went back to go look, I was like,
he muted you.
My man muted me, and that was the second time that kind of thing happened too, because somebody else came in. I don't know if you've seen the older, whatever he was, Australian, whatever he could be. But there was another. Oh, it started when they were talking about wrestling, which I really know nothing about. And of course, sooner than later, guys started getting all weird with the chat, or I like totally timed myself out on that. But he changed his picture to something similar to that other thing, and I was like, "Look at the picture, dude. It's not serious, man." And I don't know. There's got to be something before it comes to that, just to be, I don't know if it's a pride thing. I think it's prideful. Tiz is just like not backing down kind of dude. So he wants to handle it the way he's going to handle it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're allowed to do whatever you do, but, you know, I wish people like that wouldn't do stuff like that. But I guess it's part of it, you know, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing I forgot. I forgot that he came up as me.
Oh, right.
That's what that's the then I would have dropped immediately, because he didn't even have the guts enough to come up as himself. Once somebody uses somebody else to come up, then it's like, okay, yeah, no good intentions are coming from that guy, so I'm gonna get him up out of there. I totally forgot about that, the fact that he can, when you mentioned Avatar, I remember, because I was in the chat going, yo, that ain't me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Oh, I saw the name click up. I'm like, yo, that's not me. You know, once people do that, there's a reason why they, and you know, somebody is a punk like that enjoys that anonymity to be able to come up and you know, troll under somebody else's name. And he definitely derailed.
Yeah.
I can't believe he muted you, man.
Is that a big deal in the world of podcasting?
Nah, it's something you could do, but I was saying you. If I would have, he didn't mute the other guy, he muted you.
Okay, so that's kind of what I thought about it too. I was like, me, like you're letting this guy N-bomb the whole time, and I'm like, I'm the guy.
Yeah,
I'm the guy. So I was just like, whatever, you know, it's late. It's the way it is. But yeah, all right. So something interesting you were saying earlier about being part of this red pill space sort of deal. So how deep do you subscribe to any of that? Are you? I guess I'll start with me, where I don't think I really subscribe to much of anything that I've seen so far. And again, I'm not that deep into it. Like I said, I'm probably about a year or two behind everybody else of what they've seen about that. But for the most part, where they try to express things like, the man is up here, just doesn't seem to be any equality, and the man should be served rather than a relationship of equals and supporting each other sort of deal. Kind of seems like this barbaric, or sometimes even uh, uh, in my opinion, false attempt to relate it to anything religious or biblical is what the position of a woman should be in society as well. Do you go that deep, or is it just
No? I know humans to be way too complicated to try to assign any kind of role or any kind of like limits or ceiling or bottom on anybody. So I don't look at women all in the same way. I don't look at all men in the same way. There's things that, like, so people will say like, oh, a real man does this. Like, I
right?
find like you do what works for you. The same thing with somebody's relationship. If it's, there's a lot of that 50-50 talk, or 100% man should be taking care of the woman should submit, like those things like that. If that works for your relationship and the two people involved are happy with it, then that's great. But I find people are so nuanced that, if I'm in a relationship, right, and I'm the breadwinner, or I'm making most of the money, and so say I lose my job, and now I'm not the breadwinner, or I'm not making any money. Now does that change the dynamic? Do I want to be in a relationship with a woman who says, well, you lost your job, you're not a leader anymore because you don't make more money? Or do I want to have somebody to say, hey, you know what, you lost your job, now let me hold this down for this time being, and we're gonna work this out together? I'd rather that. Like, I think, like, I don't subscribe to any particular way of thinking. I just think two people, what works for them may not work for you. Your
Right.
personality and my personality are different. Even when we look exactly alike, the things that bother me may not bother you, or the things that turn me on may not turn you on. The things that turn me off may not turn you off. So it's the relationship is between those two people. So I don't subscribe to any ideology when it comes to relationships, anything really, for that matter. I
Yeah.
take bits and pieces from a little bit of everything, something that's useful to me, and then I go like that.
Okay. Okay. Sounds about right. Yeah, it's just the more you're exposed, really, I still, even looking at these things, like, are these guys serious? Like, do they really run their lives like this? And they seem like broken people already, and a lot of them in their past don't haven't seemed to experience any period of leadership or belonging to anything, and this is their outlet. Where I think a lot of, and this is where I think you go back to stages in your life. I guess I would explain, much like I was kind of explaining to a coworker the other day. They're probably about 40 or so, but it seems like they're coming into themselves now, like who they are. They're starting to wear nice clothes, and it's a young lady. She's doing her hair up and this sort of stuff. I don't want to quite call it like the ugly duckling syndrome or whatever, but it seems like she's just kind of getting it together now, where she's been relatively bright and did school and everything as well, leading up to that point, but now getting social acceptance from people. And I relate that to maybe a young man who maybe is wearing a suit for the first time. You get a little bit of a different bravado up until that time.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, okay, you start feeling yourself like, that sort of deal. And I think certain thresholds in life bring that about. Like, maybe if you graduate, maybe if you go to college, if you join a club in college, all those different things expose you to certain types of behavior as well. And it kind of seems like these guys don't or haven't experienced any of those thresholds until the notoriety they've gained later through these means of artificially building themselves up to what they present themselves to be currently or at that time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I would say like there's a certain faction that maybe got their heartbroken, and they're looking for some guidance, or some of it's just one time. Then there's other people that continuously get in these relationships and they don't understand why things are not working out, so they're looking for some direction. And then there's people like you said who grow into themselves, and they get that job they want, they get the money that they wanted, um they're able to buy the things that they want, and now it's like, okay, now I'm looking to, I'm feeling better. Like you said, like you see me most of the time, I got on graphic t-shirts and basketball shorts, but there are days when I go to a function, like I dress up, and it is a different feeling when you look a certain way. It's just a different feeling,
Yeah, of course.
and if you graduating, not in the school sense, but if you graduating from one level to the next, and you start to see people maybe look at you a little different, and you feel a little different about yourself, so then maybe, and then also it depends on what you're listening to too. So if I'm feeling a certain way and I'm looking for explanations, and I constantly listen to somebody telling me it's a woman's fault that you're this way, it's a woman's fault that you're this way, look at these women, and once the algorithm is, once you look up something on you, like you look up something on YouTube, and then when you log back on, the YouTube is hit you with that. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I promise you, the other day I looked at like a yoga video came across. It was a lady doing yoga, and she was very flexible. I'll just say that. And I looked at like 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Let me stop lying. I looked at about a minute of the video, and then I, went on. But I swear, the next time I got on YouTube, it was yoga
Everything's
video.
yoga.
Yeah. And now I'm watching yoga videos, and all of them, I'm saying, I'm clicking on every last one of them.
Isn't that amazing how that works too? Right.
Yeah, so I think people, if you find that confirmation that something's wrong with somebody else, and you start looking at those videos, you can go down a rabbit hole, and then it becomes like, oh, there's this place where there's other men who have the same problems, the same issues. Now I could get in the chat, and I could get on a panel and tell them, and they'll be like, yeah, man, yeah, and give, so it could build up in that way as well. Yeah, so it's a lot of different, and it's a lot of guys that are there just trying to figure stuff out. So I wouldn't say the majority of people there, in my experience, are not in total agreements with the host. They just have some connection, and then once you add in the fact that people want to be a part of a community, that need to be part of a community, that also adds to it. But I found some really cool people over there, and maybe with some different opinions. But I can't, if somebody's extreme, I can't follow that extreme. I don't follow an extreme view of anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's important too. Just with forming your own opinion, having your own ideologies as well. You have to take a little from everything. Remember being in a couple chat rooms as well, and again, try not to be too involved and stuff. But a couple of the ones I get stuck in is this FBA, the SATOS thing, which I don't even want to go into the whole thing. Dependent, but I have a West Indian background as well, and American lineage. And actually, even saying that, I think that was one of the first conversations I had with Carrie Ann about like 3 years ago. So that's how I got involved with her, and just to put an end on that. So I noticed a couple things about her is she doesn't stick to, at least back then, didn't stick to information very well. She would tangle some of the truths around to sort of fit her narrative. And if it wasn't that, she was very, I think there was an older lady who she just cussed. It just was so nasty. And I think there were about three. This was Nappy Yankee, if you're familiar. Was it?
Yep.
Yeah. It was Nap's page where we were, and people were trying to be like, what the hell, and talk to her. So by the time it came to me, I just spoke to her like this, like, not cool. Just very thankful of the way that I addressed her, and kind of calmed her down and brought reason to her. And then ever since I saw her in a chat room, I was like, nope. Just,
Listen, man.
Some people equate that, and I'll call it ratchetness or whatever, with making points or winning an argument, and I don't.
Yeah. So I think part of what she does is she's able to adapt to the atmosphere, and not necessarily Nap's channel, but like when you come in here or you go to the sector and you are having conversations, if you are going to get on the panels and you don't have the ability to adapt and kind of be the squeaky wheel, you kind of get lost in the conversation. I think she understood really early, like, oh, this is what they're doing, so let me match that energy. And and yeah, she will cut somebody up. And again, like I said, I did a show with her, and it was we read a book, and it was called, I think it was of Men and Boys. I forgot the book was about how boys have been falling behind in school, behind girls, and how since like the 70s, once they kind of opened up the they made things equal. Like since then, that time, women have been catching up and surpassing boys in school, and not necessarily they're still below us, like, excuse me, with wages and things like that, but they've been catching up and surpassing they've been moving on a faster pace than us. And that's something like, that's if I'm not careful during a conversation, I can get lost in there, because the information was more towards what her line of thinking was. So but there was no cussing out. It was like, it was fun, it was laughing, it was joking, because I understand, like, I'm part of what I do for a living is talk to people on a regular basis. I interview people, I listen to people, listen to what is said and what's not said, how they say it, body language and stuff like that. So I do that for a living. So one of the main things I know is, like, when somebody has an aggressive point of view, is like you said, like, if somebody's yelling, I'm not, if I yell, we just gonna, if we start on the 10th floor, we only going through the roof. So I'm talking in a way that, I'm gonna be very humble, and not to lower myself, but I'm just gonna talk from a standpoint of, okay, yeah, we could have a conversation, and okay, and then we can have it this way. We don't have to, we don't have to go that way. She's I think she was agreeable to just have the conversation. Now, had I challenged her in a way that she felt attacked, then that would have turned into, and even then, it was, even then, because of the subject matter, I was joking while we were on the panel. I told her this was a setup. This is a setup. You got me up here because you wanted a body, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you needed a body, so but the material was such that, there was I really didn't have an argument. It was more like, here's what the stats say, here's what things are saying. So I couldn't argue that point, but I could do a little bit of pushback, but it didn't make sense. So I didn't try to justify my point of view. We just stuck to what we read and talked about that. So if you're in a conversation about like that, then I think there's a chance for it to be real productive. But if it's something like, if you're going to talk, and this goes with anybody, if you're going to talk about religion, politics, and like sex and dating and stuff like that, those things have the potential to really become like firebrand emotional conversations. So when you have those conversations, and ideology too, yeah, there's the potential for some explosive conversations. But I read the room. If I'm not willing to go there, like you said, you came with the chat. You was like, all right, okay, let me just fall back a little bit because I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
But some days you're gonna probably one of these days you're gonna be like, you know what, I'm feeling. I got time tonight. Let me get up there. Let me. But as long as you do it with
Yeah.
love too. She that's the other thing too. She won't take the disagreement unless you like. She won't take the disagreement and not talk to you again, or every time she see you, but if it's an adversarial thing, then yeah, she will poke too. Like, so next time she sees you in the chat, she might bring up that last interaction, just to see,
Probably.
check your temperature a little bit. She does a lot of
Yeah.
temperature checking.
Yeah. Some people are kind of, and that's just like people, I guess, on the outside. It's not always face value. Also, like, what did somebody call it? If you were in there, I think it was keeper, data collectors, right? And trying to get that information from you to see how they're going to flip it on you at the same time,
Yeah.
And, yeah, see that as well. I just think it's dude in the chat talking about he must not know who Carrie in. I'm like, what? Oh, you're subscribing to this nonsense, man. It's like, oh, now, man. And there's dudes that have dudes or whatever, females who have words, back and forth kind of deal. And I'm just kind of like, I don't feel that person, so I'm not even gonna interact with them when I see them in chat and stuff. And we leave each other alone and stuff. And then they try to, latch on to something you say and, hey, last call, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, we butt heads. Like, I don't even want to, have that interaction with you.
Yeah.
Like,
ain't you the one that said this and so is chat? And it's like, okay, you fishing now. Yeah, there's been people that have called me out for stuff I said in another chat, and it's like, yeah, or jokes that I made, and I was joking. I got on the Summer Jam screen. Somebody pulled up my page and was reviewing it.
What?
Yeah, actually, ironically, they were reviewing it because Carrie was up there, and their focus was really her, but they used me and our conversation. It was like, oh, this guy's born. Oh, look, talk about my beard and how old I am. It was like one of them things. But if you watched it, it really didn't have anything to do with me. It was more because of her. They don't like her. So they wanted to, or if they like her or they don't like her, whatever. But they
trying
were
to see what the associates are like.
Yeah, they used our conversation to put in, and I went in the chat and I was like, hey, well, I know what it was. I said, hey, why am I on the screen? I wanted to mess around, and then I used it time for a free promotion. I said, hey, well, appreciate the free promo. If you're available on September 21st, I'm doing this. I was like, yeah, come by, and I love for you.
So this happened recently.
I want to say in the last couple of weeks, last 2 weeks. I want to say, yeah, because it was after what's up, Keeper? It was after she was up on the panel. She was on a panel with me, so it was like, because I think she's only been on one panel with me, so it was after that. So when you do cam up and when you do this stuff and you do show you voice a different opinion or something like that, you just got to be prepared for those type of things. So that's what I would say too going forward. You want to be prepared for the fact that some people and I don't mind it, because it is what it is, as long as it stays on YouTube and nobody's trying to dig in my life and stuff. But if somebody has a difference of opinion, or they don't like what I look like, or they don't like what I sound like, by all means, I want people to look and say, oh, well, let me go see what it is. Okay, well, I like it or I don't like it, and I'm looking to grow, so I don't have a problem with criticism.
All right, that's good. That's good. Bunch of see a lot of stuff you gotta, I don't know to say, to put up with or just consider, when you're doing all this too, man. It's I don't know. Still kind of deciding. But this is, if we had more days like this where I could, put out a little bit of information and have a few chats with people, kind of what I'm willing to do, what I would want to do, with a little bit of current events in there, sort of deal. You know, what do you think? I put the netiquette there, but the etiquette. So when you come into a room or somebody's space or whatever, what generally I see saying what's up, whatever. I normally do I do the peace sign, what's up kind of deal. And I see there's people that say hi to each and every member of the chat, which I think is just a lot of energy, you know.
It's hard when I'm on my computer. It's easier because you just do the @ and the first letter and all the names will pop up and you can just click on it. But if I'm on my phone, it's a little bit harder to do for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a Android thing but the names don't pop up automatically. You got to physically type the name in. But when I'm on the computer,
that's the same with the iPhone too.
Yeah, I'm on a computer. It's easier. You just type it and you just put the first letter, and then it'll their whole name, or to give you everybody. So if you type in, like you were saying, @keeper, if you type in @K, everybody with a K in the name will pop up, and you can click and say what's up to everybody. That's one of the things that I enjoy most, because even no matter what the host is, now out of respect for the host, I'm going to try to keep the conversation that I'm having about the topic, but I definitely, a lot of times I come in because I want to see who's there and talk to them and just catch up with everybody and say hi. It's good to see, we've been here since like 2019, you know what I'm saying? So that's a good amount of time invested in people's personalities and these conversations. So, I enjoy that part of it. But as far as I come in, I speak, and I try to pay attention to what's actually going on the panel so I can contribute in that way. If it's something that I'm not interested in, if it's a roast or if it's too dark a topic or something like that, I'll just stick to talking to the people in the chat that I enjoy.
Gotcha. Hey, I gotta grab some water over here. Hang on for me for 1 minute, or if you want to pose
No. I'm gonna hang on until you get back, because I gotta go. I gotta pick up my son from school. So
all right, cool. Give me 1 second.
Now do your thing, brother. I'll hold it down. I'm a vet at this now, Keeper. I stay up here by myself. I'm used to that now. What's going on, Keeper? How you doing? That trip to Thailand looked amazing in that video with propane going. Not Thailand. That was genius. I was listening to that. I was mad that I didn't, do something like that with some sound bites and some video that I have. Pure genius. Did you come up with that? Was that you creatively, completely you creatively, or not? But other than that, Keeper, what you got going on? You gonna be doing anything in the near future? I know it's been a while. I know you do uploads and shorts and stuff like that, but it's been a while since I've seen you live. I want to do that music battle with you, but I probably have to do it on another channel. I know these when people do a lot of the music, sometimes YouTube will shut them down. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. You just got back from another trip. Where'd you go this time? If you don't mind me asking. Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do the music thing, how to play music on your channel without. I know you get copyright claims just because the music is somebody else's music or the video, so I don't have a problem with that. Thinking about, like, I've seen it get the stream get shut down, so I want to figure out how we could do that music battle, Keeper, without the stream getting shut down. And you went to Tampa. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I was saying, I wanted to figure out, because me and Keeper was supposed to do like a little. We chatted a while ago. I challenged her to like a little music, music for music, song for song thing. But I may have to do it on my other
like
channel.
A versus kind of deal.
Yeah. Just versus, just go back and forth, pick songs, and and the winners of the chat, because we're gonna be going down memory lane with the music. Talk a little junk to each other. Put people in a place and time like music has a tendency to do.
How are you going to get around the any copyright or anything?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. Because you're gonna get a copyright claim, a claim if the artist allows you to play their music on YouTube, it's just gonna be a claim and it doesn't affect your channel. You'll see the copyright in there, but it doesn't affect your channel, and YouTube will tell you that. Now, if you get a strike or a community something or something like that, like I have one. My very first live, I tried to do a review. Me and the matter of fact, it was me and the partners. We were reviewing Boys in the Hood, but we were only not Boys in the Hood. I'm sorry, Tales from the Hood, but we were only reviewing the one with Crazy K.
Okay.
So I bought the movie on YouTube, and all I was going to do is play that 20-minute one, 20-minute one, but probably like I guess I didn't stop it. I guess you got to play and then stop and play and then stop.
I think like a minute or half a minute or something like
that.
Maybe.
Yeah. And YouTube shut it down and gave me a strike for that.
Really?
Yeah. But we fired the lives back up and we just talked about it because we assumed everybody saw it. And my angle on that was it's still relevant. It was the social aspect of Tales from the Hood, all of those stories that was on there, but I picked that particular one and it still was relevant. Like Keeper saying, snippets may work. So I probably could have edited, you can edit it, then add your own little background and do different things to make it like your content and then stop it every now and then, kind of like Lennon does, where he'll stop the video and talk and blah, 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 and play a little bit, stop. That's what I should have did. But that's the only time I got a strike. And I appealed it. They denied it, but I didn't try to. So if you get a strike, they allow you to do this class. It's a couple of questions, and then it takes like 90 days for it to come off. I never did the class. I didn't do the class initially, and then probably like about a month ago, 2 months ago, I finally, because it's still in my YouTube studio. So I clicked on it, and it was like, if you want to remove it, and I did it. So it's supposed to come off September 15th, but it didn't affect me. But I see people like DJs and stuff like that playing music all the time. So I don't know how to like navigate and how to do it without it becoming an issue.
So it's weird. When I I don't even know how long. When I set up my YouTube and I thought I was gonna do some live stuff or get on here, I used to DJ a little, and I used to have a the hell do you call that thing? The music SoundCloud. So I put some of my mixes on SoundCloud and whatnot. And then when I had set up my YouTube, I started transferring some of those mixes or just playing some songs again when I wasn't even really thinking about doing a YouTube channel, but I was just like, hey, I wanted to transfer some of those mixes on there since I was going to. So you could actually hear some of those now. And a lot of those things did stick, and YouTube kept it on for a lot of those things. And I'll tell you right now, Isley Brothers will shut you down in like a second. Marvin Gaye will shut you down in like a second. So when I went to go post some of those things, see, I don't even know the difference between a strike and all that sort of stuff. But I got that they won't make it public because of these copyright reasons. And I think one of the options is it chooses to, I don't know, go through it for you and take out any of that material, and then you could repost it. So for the most, there's a couple that I didn't bother to do all that stuff to publish it, but there's a good portion that I did that too, and I just put it up there, and it cuts out a lot of those songs that were marked for copyright before to put it up. So it might be worth just talking about it. Put it up for a few seconds and say, yeah, I like this one, blah 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 blah, but you might not get away with putting the whole thing up there.
Yeah.
What did that say? More Thailand content.
Yeah. Did you see her video from Thailand?
No, I'm gonna have to subscribe. I didn't know. I know there was some talk about Keeper going on here, and she was like, no, not yet, or whatever. But why not? What's going on over here?
Well, she edited showing the footage, but she used propane saying, why are we talking about Thailand? It's like this cool thing where she's showing Thailand, but propane is asking, why are we talking about Thailand? Not Thailand, not Thailand. So like the way the edit and the sound, everything was dope the way she did it. Like I told her,
Okay.
I was mad that I didn't, as a creator, somebody who, I was like, man, I wish I would have thought of that. She used, because of the well, you're not really probably not privy to all the stuff, but because of the whole thing, it's stuff that was going on with Thailand a couple of years ago, it was well done. So
Okay.
if you get a chance, listen to that, man. I'm gonna have to leave. Yeah, I gotta go pick up my son.
All right, do your thing, man.
Yeah,
Do a
man.
couple
Appreciate you for having me. Keeper said she's
Thank
gonna
you for
come
popping up, man.
Yeah, no, of course, man. I saw it. I said, it was after 120 when I saw it. I was like, oh, this dude ain't going live because this thing's supposed to happen already. But I said, let me click the notification so at least it'll pop up. Keeper said she's gonna come up. She just want to set up her audio.
Okay, cool. I'll stay on for a little bit, and we'll definitely wait on you, Keeper. Thanks for popping up again. Do you want to talk a little bit about before you go, just promote your thing on I think the 21st?
Yeah. Yep. It's because this is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, September. I think yesterday was Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. But I set it up for September 21st, and just go to my page and look, and you can see on that day I want people to come. I am gonna share a story and then put some information there. Hopefully I can get through it because it's a very emotional thing for me. So hopefully I can get through the whole thing. So I'm gonna need all hands on deck, all participation. If it's 3 people in there, all 3 of us can, have the conversation. But I'm hoping more people have the conversation because
for sure.
All the other stuff that we do, listen, it's all good. Have some fun, have some good conversations. But every now and then, and the other thing too, I want to say, I'm trying to get away from. I don't want every time I come on it to be serious or something dark or something, trying to get some mental health related topics out there. So I am working on some more fun stuff, but
sure.
September 21st. Tune in. What's up, Keeper?
All right. Thank you very much.
Hey.
And
hey, brother.
we had a
last call.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Keeper? Thanks for coming on, man. I feel feel blessed you jumped on here, man.
Oh, wow. I appreciate that. Yeah. I was trying to jump up before a brother left. I know you got to get out of here to get your son. But yeah, that Thailand content worked out fine. I was in Propane's chat one night, and I knew back in May and June I was going. I just never said anything. The tickets were bought back then, and Propane was live one night. So I just, about a week before I was heading out to Thailand, I just dropped in the chat, hey, I'm going to Thailand, just starting some meth. So I said, hey, I'm going to Thailand for a meet and greet. Well, of course, everybody thought I was just, joking, talking mess, right? And they didn't know that I was serious. So Propane like, oh, Thailand. Oh, mention Thailand in here. Yeah. So what I did, I rewound it. I rewound his live, and I screened, I recorded him saying that. I said, okay, I'm going to use this. When I go to Thailand, I'm making a video and I'm using his audio. It was basically to prove a point. Because it's been, it's taboo. Thailand had become so taboo, in our little space, because we know the one guy that put such a stain on it, right? And this had been going on for 2 to 3 years, right?
I don't even know this whole story. You're gonna have to tell me.
Oh man, it was so bad. It was so bad. This guy had people even afraid to mention the word, the location, Thailand. Yes, it was that bad. So I had a choice to go to either South Africa or Thailand. So I chose Thailand. I said, okay, I'm gonna prove a point. I'm going to see for myself what this Thailand is all about. And when I tell you guys, it was a beautiful experience. Trust me, it was a beautiful experience. So if you notice at the end of my video, basically saying, don't allow anybody basically to, to dictate your life, your movement and everything. This is your life. This is our life. We have one life to live. And, the words of somebody shouldn't be the determining factor of how you move. So that was basically my point of, making that video.
Okay.
And I left out a lot of content in that video, but I didn't want to make it too long. I just wanted to get to the point of the matter, just to show, that it's a beautiful location, a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Just overall. Yes, I wanted to get up here and tell that part. But yeah, it's a whole story behind that last call. I don't think you were around during that time. I know a brother was. He was here
Probably
from the
not.
very beginning. Brother, you was the one. Remember when it all first went down? Remember, I initially tried to get on that panel, remember? And I tried to squash everything that day. And then you remember I went back over to Stars live. You were a mod then, and everybody was asking me, was I okay? Because remember, I got kicked off the panel.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. I
So
know.
I was trying to squash it. I was trying to nip it in the bud to squash it right then and there before it even took on that whole life that it took on. But I wasn't allowed to because I was kicked off the panel, because they didn't want me to say what I was going to say, because they knew I could have shut it down. Because I mean, I was there from the beginning, and I'm the one that was being accused of being in the background, which it was nothing going on in the background, absolutely nothing. And this guy just made a total monster of it all,
Right.
and it was very sad. And the way they did Unc and everything,
Yeah.
So I was basically one of the only ones that hung in there with him because I knew his character, and it was nothing like, that was being portrayed. So yeah, basically it was just basically all that was done to stop the money. Basically, if I can't get the money, nobody will.
Right. Yeah.
And
That
that's
changed. I would say I was a
mm-hmm,
lot more. I say I was a lot more generous back then as well. But a lot of the
mm-hmm,
stuff that happened kind of made me go, okay, let me, because I don't want to be involved in
yeah,
nobody's
yeah.
conspiracies, all this
Absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely. Well, you saw even us disappearing it didn't really help the situation much. They still went pretty much like they're doing this situation here.
Yeah.
It's the less you say, the more they go at it, but I just let them have at it.
That's it.
And basically you just get out the way and let them do their thing. So now I guess they're saying it's some type of blackout or whatever. No. You want the floor, you got it.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm
That is
saying?
weird.
the
You
video.
know what? I had this weird experience. I don't even know how long. Maybe 3 or 4. When I first started getting into the sector, I guess. And I have a story which I'd probably share about as many times as time goes on of how I got connected on to here and everything. Yes, sir.
Hold that thought. I'm gonna drop down, but I'm gonna make sure I'm on the phone because I'm gonna keep listening.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And,
Y'all have,
and
I'll
I,
see
I
you.
don't want to get into the
Okay.
whole
All
thing
right,
now,
brother.
but from what you are talking about now, yeah. And again, without trying to go through the whole thing and bringing up names and everything with this,
Mm-hmm.
but I had this weird experience on this guy's page, which I kind of, after I got started on Lennon's page, like I think a lot of people have, and then
Yeah.
I see people kind of drop off from that and kind of turned against them, which
Mm-hmm.
I never really could figure out why they have or whatever. But he's one of the people I kind of check out once in a while. But if you remember when that used to go, other people used to be able to go to another channel and then another channel and another channel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the people, I don't know how we do with names and all this. As you can see, I'm a newbie to the game. But one of the dudes I used to check on was this guy, Max, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you mentioned this story, but the topic of that conversation one night, one guy was talking about lady boys, right? Like,
Yes. Yes.
so you're just reminding me of this thing of what you're talking about. And I
Mm-hmm.
found this so odd. And they were talking about these locations about, you could go here and here. And they were like really in more than, and I don't want to put labels. Like, I don't care. I don't care what, and I'm not trying to put labels on anybody, but as a straight dude, I'm like, this is like a little uncomfortable. Like, you're just way too deep in this conversation. So they're talking about, you go here, you could go to Thailand and blah, 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 blah. And I just kind of popped up, still very new to the netiquette, the chat etiquette and all that kind of stuff. Like, hey, what are we doing in this room, sort of deal. And as soon as I did that, what I know to be mods now were like jumping on me. You okay? You okay? Let's go. Like, what's your problem? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I'm like, I don't know. This is kind of weird. So like I do with a lot of these spaces, I'm like, all right, I'll check on you guys later because it's a little too weird right
now. Right.
Went back in. I think I try to give a couple of chances, so to speak, to be like, maybe it was a different night or maybe I was just crazy or whatever. And I went back in. These guys were deep in the conversation of lady boys and going to Thailand. And I was like, what the fuck?
Well, the thing of it is that, yeah, sure. Thailand has lady boys, and a lot of these lady boys, they look just like women. And I guarantee you those same people talking, if they go to Thailand, they, for the most part, they wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. Now,
That's
the other thing about that is that you'll get what you go looking for. If you go to Thailand looking for that, well, of course, it's readily available and accessible. But I mean, if you're going to Thailand for what I went for Thailand for as a tourist, then you're going to get that. You know what I mean? So, but to take that one piece of Thailand and try to make something negative about it, that's the sad part about it. And that's what keeps us stagnated.
Yeah.
You'll never get out of the country or go travel and experience new things if you stay stuck in that type of mindset.
Absolutely.
So again, that's why I chose Thailand, because I wanted to see, myself, because I hear a lot of that talk too. And sure, I saw a lot of the lady boys. I saw them, but they don't bother you and you don't bother them. I didn't go there looking for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the controversy with those guys? Like, you don't have to get into the whole deal, but like, why did they mark Thailand for anything?
Well, it was a situation where, like you mentioned, the guy Max V. So we pretty much came from Lennon and Max V's panel, right? So we were on Max V's chat and live, supporting him. And Max V decided to take a little break for one reason or another. And there was this one guy that was always on Max V's panel, pretty much as a piece of furniture, basically. And so Max V had pretty much encouraged him to start going live. So this particular guy said, okay, he'll go live, and his topics of conversation would be different strains of weed, because he's a weed head, and PTSD. So we said, okay, that sounds like something we can jump on board, and we'll go support him, right? So again, a handful of us went over there and started supporting this guy. Well, after about, I'll say 2 months, things started going kind of haywire, to the point where this guy was pretty much attacking everybody in the space.
Really?
When I say everybody, I mean everybody. And this particular person, I'll call the name the Smoke God.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he started attacking everybody in the space, and and so a handful of us, we were like, that's not what we're not here for that, and we didn't understand where all these attacks were coming from. So his thing is that we asked for his protection, and to this day, I'm trying to figure out protection from what. I don't need protection from anybody, especially on any type of social media. I mean, it's not as if somebody can reach out and touch me. So what type of protection can you provide me on social media? I'm still trying to figure that one out. So he's saying this is the reason he started attacking certain people, because of this requested protection. So, he's just caught up in his own conspiracies and things of that nature. So the one of his main supporters was Unc Must Be Logic. I'm sure you've heard of him.
I've heard of the name, but again, putting any background on a lot of these guys is kind of difficult.
Yeah, so that was one of the main supporters. So, everything came out about him. He was sex trafficking
What?
girls. He was sex trafficking girls from Thailand. He was into lady boys. He's gay. He's this.
What?
Oh, it was yes. Oh, it was really bad. And this went on for 2 to 3 years. In fact, it's still going on. I mean, this guy, he constantly mentions his name. And this guy is still out of the country. He's not even
So wait,
thinking about
not,
him.
I don't want to break you up too. So it's very possible some of the things that I heard like that couple of years ago or whatever is part of that.
Yes. He's the one
That
that
is
all this
wild.
evolves around. The same person that I did a meet and greet with in Thailand. Yes. He sponsored the whole trip.
What?
Yeah, that's why I said I'm the only one that kind of hung in there with him, because I knew that everything was said about him because I was one of his main supporters when all of this was going on. Just trying to tell him, just ignore it. Um, you know, and I don't care how much this guy ignored it. It just went on and on and on and to the point where he had to send him a cease and desist this year, a couple of months ago.
Holy.
Yeah, he literally had to send him a cease and desist letter. I mean, this man has, he's drug his deceased brother, everything. He just did a lot of
Damn.
very malicious things to this guy, and all this guy did was try to support him as a content creator. So once he started talking about everybody and being malicious, these malicious attacks, we didn't want any part of that. So we left his channel. We stopped supporting him. Well, I guess he felt some type of way about it. So now he wants to start dragging everybody. Oh, I was called a crackhead. Yeah, they called me a crackhead, and I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. I laughed so hard at that. I'm like, because they don't know me. So, he couldn't
Yeah.
really come up with anything other than I'm a crackhead. That's because um, when his panel was good, when it first started, it was very good. I mean, when I tell you everybody from this space was over there in other spaces,
This
this
is smoke.
man would, yes, this
Okay.
man would have 3, 4, 500 people in his chat, in his live stream. He was getting thousands and thousands of views. So he was becoming very popular, you know, but he ruined all of that. And he ran all the people away. Not only that, he had the money bag in his right hand, you know. So, he decided to come up with all these different conspiracy theories and things like that. And you know, it is what it is. And like I said, it's been going on for the past 3 to 4 years. So every now and then you'll hear him mention Unc must be logic. You'll hear him mention his name every once in a while. Still to this day. Yeah, so but what can you do? People that don't have generic or sorry, organic content, they have to create things just out of thin air and call it content. That's how it goes. Yeah,
Wow.
so
I
yeah,
find that
so
very interesting. Because I've never shared that story with anybody, and how weird I thought that interaction or just that topic really was amongst being in a group like that. Because I was really just like, why are we talking about this? And I was still trying to respect the platform, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, this is not normal conversation. And the mods in there were kind of like, what was wrong with me? you
yeah.
know,
Now how long ago was this?
holy, now I'm really trying to get a date going on here.
Mhm.
Man, I want to say, I'm trying to think of where I was at this time. It could be 3 to 4 years ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right in there. Yeah, you're right in that time frame. Mhm.
That is wild.
Yeah, so everything that you were hearing was really surrounded by this one guy that I'm talking about, Unc Must Be Logic. And again, this is the one that sponsored the trip for me to go to Thailand. And like I said,
Oh,
I'm the only one left out of this big group of people that we try to, basically what it is, last call, is that Unc Must Be Logic. He's military, of course, and
okay.
he's been in Kuwait almost 20 years now. So he basically came to YouTube, just basically trying to connect with what we would call his people, right? Because,
Mhm.
of course, out there in Kuwait, he's around a lot of Kuwaitis, and, he's
Okay.
always traveling to Thailand. He's been to Thailand over 100 times. I
So
mean, it's
this is
like,
a thing.
mhm,
This is
yeah.
what he does. Yeah.
Yeah, this is his life. This is what he does. So he decided to come to YouTube to connect with his so-called people, and let's see if we can do some international traveling, right? I mean, it's people all over YouTube that travel as a group. They do international traveling and things of that nature, but it didn't work over here with this group of people
Mm.
for one reason or another. So I was the last man standing, and knowing that he was serious about this. You had one chick saying that they were trying to get her to travel because they were going to kidnap her. She didn't know what they were going to do to her. So it was always something negative surrounding the talk about traveling.
Right.
Um, so it is what it is. It's their loss.
Did you ever
Uh,
feel threatened within that time, or did you? I guess you weren't in the know at the time when you were over there. When did it become a concern to you,
about
or
about what became a concern.
just about this guy and I I guess what he was into, and I guess what he was trying to influence other people to get into.
Oh, it became apparent after about the first month and a half that we were over there supporting him. So we were in cahoots with each other to say, okay, we're gonna give it another 2 weeks to see how it goes. We'll give it another week. We'll give it another month. We'll see how he does if it gets better. Because we were always saying, why are you trying to fight everybody? You're trying to build a build a channel here. Let's work on building your channel. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I just gotta, do this, and then yeah, we'll get back on course, and but it never got back on course. So once we decided that, this guy's full of shit, that's when we all decided to leave. Which it was just maybe two or three of us at that point that
Okay,
decided to, stop dealing with the guy. So within this time, it was like two or three, well, about three of us that were in total support of each other because
all women.
no, it was me, the guy, Unc Must Be Logic, and one more female.
Okay,
And then later on, it became another female. So because he was the guy Smoke, he was basically talking about those three. He didn't really have a lot to say about me because I never really shared a lot of stories. The only one story that I did share um, was a time when you talk about when you were young and you first started smoking weed. So I
hmm,
shared a story about that, and I shared the fact that when I first started smoking weed, I was with a couple of friends and didn't know that the joint was laced with cocaine.
yeah.
So of course I took a few pulls off of it, and I told the story how I got home, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours to even get into my front door because because I
I
was
got a
stuck I
story
was
like that.
stuck on stupid. So he took that story and he flipped it. Well, you're the one that told us you was smoking crack. So he was calling me a crackhead.
Yeah,
And again, I thought that was just hilarious.
yeah,
So anything that this guy, any type of information that he feels he may have on you, he'll eventually use that against you.
yeah,
Hence the reason he's going at Triggs, because he feels he has all the information he has to go at Triggs. As long
yeah,
as he doesn't have any information on you, it's hard for him to go at you. So, because the guy Unc Must Be Logic was one of his biggest supporters, I mean, this guy started him out, sent him microphone,
oh wow,
green screens. He sent them the whole setup to go live. You know
okay,
what I
okay,
mean? He even made fun of that. So then he was saying, the guy is gay. He wanted him, and he just made a big, big just a big conspiracy, just a big lie about it.
Just a
And he
guy
just,
trying to get you into his web to
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, the guy that was trying, that's just like you going live, right? And you got a shitty microphone. So the guy will say, okay, last call, he looks like a pretty cool guy. I'm gonna help him out, you know. So he'll email you, hey, what's your mailing address? I'm gonna send you something to help you along your journey of building your channel. And
yeah.
that's basically what it was for this dude. So then it got to the point, I mean, this guy was getting so much support. I mean, he was getting so much support. He was getting cash apps left and right.
Wow.
That's why he always makes a big deal. Yeah, this guy, he's paying people behind the scenes. Yeah, he's paying people. Yeah, Triggs, and he's working with Triggs, and he's still behind the scenes. This guy is not he's not thinking about nobody in this space.
Yeah. Wow.
You
So
know.
what do you think? What is this person's motive? Like, are they just like this, or trying to figure out
I
problems?
honestly, yeah, I'm not a physician or a doctor or anything, but I honestly think something's wrong there. Because there's no way you can pinpoint one person and you just constantly talk about drag this person maliciously for 3 or 4 years when this person has done absolutely nothing to you,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So there has to be something seriously wrong with that. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. All you have to do is watch and listen the way they jumped on the bandwagon with this trig situation. I
Mm,
mean, just really listen, you know, and you listen to the anger and you listen to the
mm,
seriousness of it. And a lot of people say, "Oh, he's just trolling." No, he's not trolling. He's dead serious,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So, I mean, we've had firsthand conversations with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it was just something that was supposed to have been positive and a good situation just turned to shit. So all that did was ran the guy. He decided Unc must be logic. He just decided to fall back. So, have it your way. He really did stop the support in the sector because I don't. You should remember him from Lennon's channel. He was the one that was always giving $50, $100. Lennon's anniversary is $100. You know, yeah.
Kind of, sorta. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not on all the time a lot, you kind of forget some of the names. Some of the names you remember and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I might remember the names, but I'm beside myself thinking like, wow, that
Mm-hmm.
there was just something so odd about that, and here I am, so many years later, finding out there was more to that.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot more. It's way more than I'm actually telling. You never know who's listening, and they're always listening for content.
Hmm, hmm.
See, this is the main goal. The more you talk, the more content is available. And as you stated earlier, like I said, it's basically data collecting,
Hmm.
whether it's for content or for doxing or what have you.
Mm.
You know.
That is wild. And that's another reason why I'm even hesitant to continue to do something on a regular basis, or even when I explain stories or tell stories, or try to give examples or a little bit about myself. There's a lot of things I think I won't say uh, for those purposes of I think people out there, there are people like that out there that are just, that's what they do.
Well, we definitely have a lot of them in this space. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely want to be very careful about what you share, especially when it comes to personal information. I mean, unless you're one of those who really don't give a shit, you know, um, then yeah. And that's a lot. That's another one of the reasons a lot of people don't cam up, you know.
Mm.
You know, yeah, these people, they're vicious. They're very vicious, and
Jeez.
it's really sad. You know, now if you wanted to do something like that, you'd do good to start another channel in a whole nother space where they don't even know where you exist. You
Wow.
know, and then like-minded people like say me or brother of a certain age and certain people, you know, we would definitely come over and support you. But for the majority of the people in this here space, No, I won't even say the majority. It's basically like just a handful of people, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, this guy literally single-handedly ran so many different people away. It's pathetic. Like they say, we have maybe 100 people in this space or less. There were hundreds of people in this space. A lot of them, they don't even drop down. They don't even chat anymore. They don't even
Wow.
engage. Yeah. Yeah. They just stop engaging because who wants to be drugged through the mud?
Yeah, for what? And I kind of look at this. This is recreational, right? Like I want to ask you how you got started, but I'll just give you a little bit of my start over here. I hear you, uh, a brother of a certain age, just like, yeah, they're sitting and listening. He shared a little bit of the situation from a few weeks ago and whatnot. But I'll tell you, I think the first person I ever subscribed to was Lennon.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's after listening to him for a long time and never to me YouTube, I remember back in the days YouTube was like it had documentaries on there and it wasn't so personal, like people weren't using it, and of course they weren't monetized, and it wasn't
Hmm.
so much a business the way that it is now, sort of deal. So that's kind of how I looked at it for a long time. And being a person that doesn't have social media or anything like that, it just wasn't a thing. But I guess going towards COVID and some other stuff, I was moving around. The first person I saw, I guess that would be from the sector, was Monty.
A
Monty's
Monty
video,
Woodgrain.
yeah,
Hmm.
would be showing up on my thing, and I think I knew a little bit about Umar at that time, and I guess he had a thing on Umar, and I used to watch it, and I laughed and I laughed, and after, like a brother said about this, after I watched that, Lennon's bald head kept popping up every time,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time, until eventually I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And then I started
Yeah.
watching, and
Well, my thing is a little bit different. I started on YouTube when YouTube first was created back in 2005.
all right,
And I remember that because I had just, got my first home and
okay,
was in 2005. And, once I got settled in, okay, so now I'm on social media looking for something to do. That was
mm,
during the times, what was it? MySpace was popular.
okay, I never
So
even did my,
I had just finally figured out how to do MySpace, and then YouTube comes along. So I said, okay, so I made a YouTube account, but I didn't even start. I started making content on YouTube back in 2009, 2008, 2009, and I ended up deleting that particular page, and I did it to this day because I would have thousands and thousands of subscribers because I started out in the conscious community. And I
okay,
told all of this on the Smoke Gods panel, when he first started his little show.
okay,
I gave everybody gave their full story about how they got, started on YouTube and things of that nature. And, I was on YouTube before Umar was even a thought.
hmm,
So I was on YouTube when Umar first got started. And I remember his first speeches and everything. Um, so yeah, that's just a whole nother long story. But
yeah,
and so then I started this page Keeper, I think back in 2012, but I wasn't doing anything on it.
mhm,
So around 2021, I want to say, I said, okay, come January of 2021, I'll just start dropping a little content, because I miss doing the videos and everything. So
okay,
I
okay.
started doing a little content, and lo and behold, the guy wants to say that he's responsible for everybody starting pages now. So it's because of him, and it's because of our exposure on his panel or his lives that we're doing live streams now. He said that what did he say? He always and he encouraged us. No, that's a lie. He didn't encourage anybody to do anything.
Huh.
So yeah, it's just all lies. So well, he has me blocked today because he knows I know the real deal, Holyfield, and I could
Yeah,
bust him out
yeah,
anytime I get ready. So yeah, he can't stand my ass. He wish I'll just disappear, you know,
got you.
cause Unc must be logic. He's not gonna go come out here and say anything. He don't deal with him at all. You know what I'm saying? I could say a whole lot more about that, but I'll keep it to myself. You
Share it
know,
another time. Share it another time.
absolutely. Absolutely.
You seem to everywhere I see you, you seem to get a lot of respect in all the rooms and everything. Everybody seems to like you and whatnot. Are there, and I'm not asking for specific names or any situation like
Mm-hmm.
that, because earlier I shared like I've gotten some weird responses from some people, or it seems like people are trying to poke you a little bit to try to instigate stuff. And it's either, when I'm saying what's up to people, I say what's up to people, and just act like the other people don't exist. Do you have any people like that you don't necessarily even greet or acknowledge their presence when you're in a room?
No, I have what you call chat etiquette, and I try to greet everybody. Sometimes I'll just come in and say peace all, and my emojis is the peace sign and the glasses because I think I'm cool like that. And hence my name, the keeper, because I am a keeper. I'm a keeper of secrets. I'm a keeper of trying to hold the peace. I'm just not a bullshit person. So, when I detect bullshit, I kind of get out. I try to get out the way, and I just let you have at it. You know, and I think that's what grown folks do. But now I don't have. Now I'll tell you, during the time the smoke god, he was in his prime, I blocked a lot of people because they were in a chat agreeing with him, and they were throwing shots, and they don't even know the situation really, and didn't know the people, the players. So I ended up blocking a whole lot of those people. I have probably about 150 people blocked.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm the block queen. If you didn't know, I'm the block queen in the space. So I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them, and you don't need to see me. So we don't mesh. So no, I don't deal with them. So the people that I do mesh with, that's all I see.
Yeah.
And I like it that way. So I'm not here to be malicious toward anybody or start shit with anybody. But if you start shit with me, I guarantee you I'm gonna finish it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because everybody, you can reach out and touch everybody. It's just a matter of how you go about doing it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Without saying too much. But yeah, so and that's why I don't share a lot. I try to keep my conversation brief. Uh I try to get in there. I try to engage a little bit. But there's people that feel some people are more popular than others, and which I don't care. I'm not here to win a popularity contest.
Hmm.
I'm popular within my own right, and I don't need any validation from anybody to say that I'm popular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 That's kind of how I feel about it.
That's the reason I went on the Thailand trip.
Okay.
so, so that says a lot in itself. So undoubtedly, this person hasn't seen that video because they're so engulfed in this trig situation till you know what I'm saying.
Mm.
Which is really sad because it's been going on for what, about 2 months now.
So what is that exactly?
That the Laquan Fisher situation.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this another player in the sector
Well,
deal?
Triggs, right?
I can't put a
So Triggs is
logo.
the one that does he was doing the spades games.
Okay, a little familiar.
Well, anyway, he's a content creator. He's a troll. So anyway, they feel that they found his identity. So he's been doxxed, and so now they're dragging
Oh,
him. They're dragging a person named Laquan Fisher. I don't know if it's Triggs or not. I really don't give two shits if it's Triggs or not. It that me.
now,
So
why
they're
would they do that to
dragging this
somebody?
person. Why
Why
would
would
they
they
do
do that?
that?
Yeah.
Well, for one, they said him as a troll that he was poking at them, for one situation or
Okay.
another. But I don't think it was anything that he did that would garner this type of dragging that they're doing. But that's just my opinion. So, I have at it. You know. So now it's to the point where nobody really is going live in the sector. Triggs Triggs is
Right.
not going live from what I can see, and a few other people are not going live. So I guess they're just letting them have their way.
Hmm.
Do what you do. If you want, you like I said in the chat or earlier, you want the floor, you got it. You want it to be the big elephant in the room, so be that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, like you say, it's just this is a space where you just come and you should be able to share thoughts and ideas, without being worried about being doxxed or being drugged maliciously. But yeah, these people, a lot of people in this space, I wouldn't share too much personal information. Definitely don't give any hints about where you work, the type of work you do, your family life, none of your personal business. Try your best not to share anything on these social media streets in this space that we're in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I might try to secure another YouTube page and try to move stuff over, think about doing that. But I might have to do that soon,
I have several of the other pages. It's just a matter of getting them going. And then moving around a lot of these silly people in this space so that they don't find you, because you don't want to be involved with certain people. I've tried to warn people about certain people, but I guess they gotta find out the hard way,
Yeah.
So it is what it is. You can't deal with a person that has a history of doing the things that they do, and you don't think that your number is not coming.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
You got a lot of people. He's cool. Oh, they're cool. Yeah, okay. Keep thinking that. Thinking that.
Yeah, because behind the computer could be a whole different entity.
Yeah. Well, YouTube is the only thing I'm on. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, Instagram. I'm not on any of that stuff. YouTube is my only outlet.
Kind of the same with me. So I don't think I'm going to stay on much longer, but I do want to ask you a couple things, because you had mentioned before something about having etiquette when you jump in there, which I don't think you were part of that conversation earlier when I was speaking to a brother. So tell me, what is etiquette to you? But also I want to hear what because I think I fall into the second category, what people do that may come off as being rude, but unintentional. Because, I think I fall into that category a lot too, by just hanging on the outskirts.
Well, I've been in the space so long till we've pretty much become accustomed to each other. So they know my character, they know how I move, and they know I've never really been caught up in any BS. Hence the reason for the so-called respect that you say I have. They've seen me move for the past 3 or 4 years, and I've been consistent in my movement and how I operate in the chats. So it's been several times last call that I've come in a chat and I've spoken to people and I didn't get a reply. I don't take that anyway. You know what I mean? I don't look at it like, oh, they're being funny or that. No, I'm grown, so I give a shit if you speak or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it's just chat. I call it chat etiquette, and I just speak. It's just like if I come visit you at your house, and these same people is in your house, I'm gonna come in and speak to everybody. Whether you return that or you reciprocate, that's on you or them. You know what I mean? A lot of times I'm at work, and all I could do is say peace all, or I'll say peace from the plantation, which I call the job. So when you see me say peace from the plantation, that's my way of letting everybody know, hey, I'm at work, so I can't really engage.
Okay.
Yeah, and one specific no, I don't really, because I don't come in a chat. I don't just hold a conversation with any 1, 2, or 3 people. I pretty much just talk amongst whoever talks to me. If they say something to me, I try to reply, but there's no constant back and forth. I just try to talk to everybody if that opportunity presents itself. You know what I mean? Other than that, I just try to keep my conversation focused on whatever the topic is, or sometimes the chat takes on a whole nother life of its own.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then
Seen.
people are in the chat just talking about things that's irrelevant to the topic, period.
Yeah, yeah.
So who are you having a problem with, or who are you clashing with in the chat?
Me personally, I don't believe I'm having a problem with anybody, to tell you the truth, because I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like you, and a little more for me. It's not even that serious because I don't know. This is not that personal to me because I feel like I'll never meet anybody um,
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. A
Right.
couple of the names that I guess that I was speaking about before, just kind of like run-ins or whatever. Some years ago, I had a interaction with Carrie. Um,
Oh,
I
that's to
didn't.
be expected. Carrie, she's just gonna carry us. I just say Carrie is Carrie. So,
Yeah, and even that,
yeah,
it wasn't even so bad to me. It just like a lot of things. We were on a panel. We were on Nappy Yankees panel.
yeah.
We were talking about something, some sort of current event, and I'm not for loud and abrasive arguments. That's not what wins a point for me. It's your
Mm-hmm.
intelligence and how you're able to articulate. So that's how that person decided to conduct themselves that day. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't change who I was, but by the end of that chat, she was actually nice at the end, saying,
Mm-hmm.
thanks for speaking to me that way, blah, 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 blah. I mean, just hearing that person speaks tells me a lot about, what I think their experience was leading up to that point and how they perceive themselves and
Mm-hmm.
why they conduct themselves a certain way. So, that was kind of that. And because you guys were making fun of me like a few weeks ago when I logged in and I was like, yeah, I'm new, when I kind of meant like I was new to the chat. You guys are like, you've been here, you're not new, sort of deal.
Yeah, yeah,
But what I
yeah.
meant was,
We don't miss names. We don't forget
yeah,
names. So even if you just tap in and say one thing, or we don't forget names. That's pretty much
apparently,
territorial. That's anywhere you go. Like I can go in new chats and it's like I don't get any shine. I don't get any recognition because they don't know me.
yeah, yeah.
They're not used to
So I
seeing me.
considered myself a newbie still,
Yeah,
and whatever happened, I was in one of the chats and I said something, and I didn't know Carrie had changed her name or whatever, but it's been about 3 or 4 years since I even made
yeah.
contact with this person, and then
Mhm.
it was just kind of like, oh, oh, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like, it was
yeah.
that kind of deal. So there's just some people in names. Like I said, I've never visited Max V's page after that weird stuff had happened. I remember back when this dude Shakim Ra started his page, and
Mhm.
when I come back on a few years or a couple years after, and I see that dudes actually rock with this dude, I'm like, what is wrong? Like, it makes me question, it makes me question the whole sector. Like, you guys put up with this?
Well, the thing of the matter too, you got to remember, Lennon is the one really that pushed Shakim on. Lennon is the one that suggested that we go over and check him out, and I did just that. So I was kind of
Okay.
one of the first people over there, and I was over there with Shakim. He didn't have one person in his live. I was
Yeah.
the only one over there, and would get on I would catch his link. Because like I said, I was from the conscious community. So I mean, I've been through the Egyptian phase. I've been through all of that. You know what I mean? So I was familiar with his content, and
Yeah.
so I could relate. And I was trying to support him and everything until everything flipped, and then Lennon was the target of humiliation.
How
So
the hell did that happen?
uh,
He,
well,
to me,
a
Lennon
lot of
has
the
like a bunch
guys.
of kids out here.
Well, a lot
Why
of the
did they
guys in
turn
the
on Lennon?
a lot of the guys in the space, they were against his begging when he was trying to move. He was begging his supporters, asking for help, to help him move. His son was in a hospital, so he was asking for monetary support for that and things of that nature. So they started investigating it. Then he started to being doxxed and all this different stuff, and then there it just went from sugar to shit real quick.
Yeah.
So I just excused myself from the whole situation. And then it became going over to Lennon's became pretty much mundane because you pretty much knew what he was going to be talking about, Umar. And by
Right.
then I was just so fed up with Umar. I didn't want to hear any talk about Umar at all,
Yeah.
whether it was
Right.
Lennon, Woody, or anybody.
Wood grain. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear any talk about because I'd already done my investigation on Umar back in 2009 and 10. Like I said, I knew Umar before he was even like really popular, you
Yeah.
know. So I was in a Facebook group back then that we had all investigated Umar already. We had called the school. We had did everything we needed to do. So we already knew he was a fraud
Yeah. Yeah.
back in 2011, 10, 11, and 12. We already knew. So I had got off of YouTube for maybe about a year. And then I came back on in 2012 and I said, let me see what's going on with this Umar guy. So I had typed in his name and the first name came up was Lennon.
Okay. Okay.
And that's how I found Lennon. So I went over, it was just my way of catching up with Umar to see what's going on with this guy now. How close has he come to the school? What is he doing now? What type of lies is he telling now? What type of
Yeah.
scams is he doing now? And that's, like I said, that's how I ended up over there in Lennon's chat. And then from Lennon, I got a hold of Max V, and then I started listening to him a little bit. And that's how I ran into the guy, the Smoke
Ah.
God, which his name back then was JLM 360 or something like that. Book of I don't know, some old shit he had back then. Yeah, and then here we are today. But in my opinion, he single-handedly ruined the whole space. I'll just put it to you like that.
Who are you saying?
The Smoke God.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So when he get a hold of this, he'll just have some more content. So I'll be every kind of dusty old lady bitch and all of that. So who cares? It's nothing I haven't heard in the past 3 or 4 years. So
People are funny. Yeah, that's
yeah.
basically almost the same. But you sounds like you've been at the YouTube game way longer than I have, which is, yeah. But I always wonder, people's beginnings.
Oh, I started before what's his name? Young Pharaoh. I remember when Young
Oh, I
Pharaoh got
remember that
started.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Young Pharaoh, he started
Yeah.
out doing like live streams in his garage with maybe 2 or 3 people in there with him.
Huh.
Not even 1,000 subs yet. So, I started out with people like Dane Calloway.
I
He
remember
didn't
that
even
name.
yeah, he
That's a
didn't
name.
even have 1,000 subs. He was a small YouTuber. I started out with Black TV Media. I forget his other name. Yeah, I started out with a lot of people that have grown to be big, big, big YouTubers now. And
Yeah.
I can only think if I had held on to my channel.
Uh,
Actually, D. Durrell, he interviewed the guy that was stealing my content, but I didn't know D. Durrell like that. I wanted to jump on his panel so bad and say, you're talking to a scammer.
mm,
What was this guy's name? Uh, Snoop
I know.
Snoop. Anus. Man, I can't think of his name. But yeah, I go back with him. So I used to make content on YouTube, and he would steal my content and lie and say he created it.
Huh.
Yeah, he would re-edit it and put all of his picture, his face in it, and and so this was during a time when YouTube, before it was monetized, and you used to get on YouTube and send
You could do that.
messages.
Yeah.
And so I messaged him to ask him, why were you stealing my content? Without asking me. Oh, everybody mirrors. You call it mirroring.
Okay.
And I mean, this guy just flat cursed me out, and then he reported me to YouTube for copyright because
What?
I was using one of Jill Scott O'Haron, one of his songs.
Hmm.
So he reported me to YouTube for copyright. Do you know they ended up deleting my video, but left his up, which was my content?
Shit, really?
And yes, that pissed me off so bad. I just said the hell with YouTube, and I deleted
Yeah.
my whole channel. And I hate I
Yeah.
did that. Yep. Because like I said, I would be where I need to be right now. And right now, last call, it's not so much that I'm looking to grow my channel. I mean, it would be nice if it happens organically, but it's not something that I'm setting out to do. For one, I don't have the time to grow it.
Yeah.
Now if I had the time to sit and just leisurely grow my channel, oh, I could grow it. I just
Yeah.
don't have the time. I don't have the time to invest in that, you know. So,
Definitely
but
seems
yeah.
like something you have to commit to and really use all of the things that are available to you, to be able to grow. Like it's a real job now.
Well,
It's
I
really
don't like it to the extent it's so sensitized. It's so censorized now. The
okay.
censorship is just crazy.
Hmm.
When I started they were real lax with the censorship. I mean, you could play music, all of that good stuff. But
Yeah.
now everything, you got to watch what you say, what you post, everything. It's just so sensitized now.
Yeah.
You know, but when you get a chance, yeah, just check my channel out and check my content out. Be sure to subscribe, and you could tell by a person's channel the type of the type of person they are and the type of content they're looking to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just based off their content alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you go to a channel their content is full of just talking about people, that pretty much lets you know right there the type of um, content creator you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think yeah, and it takes me a long time to even subscribe to the little of people that I have over the years. So, you know,
Yeah.
now I kind of do, just based on the surroundings, who I seem to frequent, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, man.
Yeah,
It's
and I have another keeper page too that I pretty much use it for if I want to get on there and talk bullshit, I go over there. I think I got about 60 subs over there. And it's pretty much the people in the chat that, we keep up with the fuckery. So when I want to be on fuckery, I kind of like go over there, but my main channel here, Keeper 116, I don't use it for any type of BS at all. So, like I said, when you
okay.
get a chance, check me out and yeah. And I will go live. I go live on this channel too. I just haven't been motivated to go live or talk about anything, you know?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
so
see that, man. And I don't know, I'd like to think I'm going to start maybe once a week to somewhat be relevant and be in
mhm.
there. But I also think it comes with a tidal wave of a lot of BS you got to do and put up with at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't
so if you
prefer.
want to go live, just pick a topic and just start talking about it and the people will eventually find you.
Yeah.
They'll eventually start lingering over, you
Okay.
know.
All right.
Once they subscribe to you and everything, you got 22 subscribers now, so yeah, they'll eventually find you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. I will definitely try to do all of that and maybe make my appearance
Yeah,
once in
there
a
you
while
go.
and do that. And thank you so much for checking me out and your encouragement and everything, man. It means a lot.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Okay, so I'm
Definitely
gonna jump
see you.
down and
All right.
I'll see you around in the chats.
All right, definitely. You take care. Thanks again.
Okay, okay, all right. You're welcome. Bye bye.
All right, goodbye. All right. This was a way more of a productive day than I thought I would have. Thought I was going to jump on here and have some music playing and be missed again and whatnot. And I'm glad that people decided to stop by. It's always a great thing to have support, and support can come in all sorts of ways. Just um, being a presence or coming in and saying, hello or, thumbs up or whatever the deal is too, um, as well. Thank you, Keeper. Thanks for coming on and doing all that. I would definitely check you out. And that's another thing I have to remember too, that almost everybody, I guess, has a YouTube channel or something too. So no shortage of things to do here on YouTube. So thanks everybody for checking me out and perhaps look for more things in the future and see you in chat as I develop my better netiquette for all the people out there as well. All right. Good. See you then. Bye bye. Oh,